Hey, good morning, everybody. So the news floating around is it's a new bull market. Well, maybe we'll see. And from what I hear, I guess they just flipped the bear market strategy, or I guess definition, down 20%. Now it's up 20% from the low. Just looking at this weekly chart here, it's up here near this prior high. So, the good thing is that this consolidation that we talked about for, I guess, almost a month and a half before it went up there, which created this pretty large shelf of support prior to moving up to that level. And you can see the topping tail from Friday as it hit the prior topping tail back here from August of last year. And you see how this one moved up, this little consolidation, and then it rallied up within its downtrend. Now, it did crack this pivot high there before it went back down again. So that comment of, oh, it's a bull market, maybe it's going to draw the public in to the markets, maybe they feel a little more comfortable. I think that's a good thing. People have drawn back from the markets this year for sure, as well as other things that are going on. But we have a kind of a pivotal week this week in, the Fed announcement where everybody anticipates they're not going to do anything, but it's a triple witching quarterly option expiration, and those tend to be turning points in the market. So we'll see how that unfolds. We got a whole week to deal with it and see how things turn out. There's lots of other economic news that's coming throughout the week, so it's going to be a news-filled week. Tends to be a lot of volatility and volume. I'm not sure, but it could be a good week to take off. I don't know. Things just might gyrate around a little too much, but we'll see. If they're large gyrations, that could be a good thing. Well, not necessarily for swings, but intraday, it could be a good thing. So we've got a defined minor shelf of support on the S&Ps. Last week's little trading range that prior to it going up and pulling back. And so things have been gravitating. We'll get to SPX right around that 430 level. Just large activity going on there for a while. So if it moves down below this level, there's a whole lot of support down here. And there's a huge open interest in SPX down at 4150, I think it was. So look, we'll get to SPX, but I mean, with this base here, it's like a giant floor. Let's call it a concrete floor to support the markets on any pullback. So they were a little higher near the topping tail. Sellers came in, pushed it back down, nothing significantly. We see where it's inside Friday's range. And there was the bearish 180. And what was significant about that 180 is that this is a range expansion bar. And sometimes you get 180s. I don't see one here exactly, but they're just normal size bars. But anytime you get a big bar followed by another ugly big bar, that's going to be significant because, there was a lot of activity. Activity is based by volume, but there was a nice rally that faded and failed. So even as we look at this minor support and this major support level, we've got let's call it a micro level of support based on, last week's activity, with the end of the week there, Wednesday, Thursday. You can see I've got these pivots marked in these up arrows. So that's a pretty significant level there, just for today to hold, and we'll see, I guess, bounces off there or not. So futures, you can see the inside day. It's just kind of inching its way up there toward the prior pivot high, which is lined up over here. And you can see the futures actually pushed up a little bit more. And a lot of times the futures will lead as, futures traders get a little more enthusiastic and just going with the trend. And until it fades. Nothing wrong with that. Looks like it got a little bit above the top of that pivot there. No, inside, nothing happening, but it's moving up, which is going to affect the options in SPX. So I see what Jake posted there, and the premiums that are where I marked what I typically look for. This is really close. I mean, it's here. I guess the upside is further apart. What's going to drive it up higher today? I don't know. I don't think there's much news this morning. It starts rolling in tomorrow. I can go and look. Anyway, if it does start to move up, and I typically say this, right? So when we look at a level like this, 43.45, if it starts to move up in the morning, the premium will increase at the 50 level. And I see that's what Jake had posted for his. He always helps out in the morning, 43.50. And that would be desirable. If the markets can move up a little bit to get to that level, they tend to be a little stronger resistance or support points. And, if it can get a little below that level, because now you're right into these pivots there, which sometimes I call it a line of defense. You can see the bottom of that is like 42.60-ish, right? Which is significantly below here. If the S&Ps were to crack here, they might bounce off of that, but just based on this price action and the pre-market activity, it really shouldn't go back down there today. So, all these relatively tight strikes that we've been picking over the last week, they've been working out. And I've been a little skeptical of that, but they have been working out. Even this one that moved up just missed going up to the 43.30 level on Friday. But, when it got up there around 10:30 or so, things got, well, I didn't think they'd go back down to the low of the day. You never totally see the future, but you knew it would stall there. And then they bought the pullback, and then it just collapsed, and, weekend, whatever, just couldn't get going again. So we got this minor topping tail. And notice this topping tail isn't really a range expansion topping tail. And I call this a range expansion wide range bar and reversal. This bar here is about average in range with these others. Whereas, say, like if we had this bar here, which is, it's a little bit bigger than these, especially because it gapped up, would have been more significant as a topping tail. So that's one of the kind of rules is, there's topping tails and there's range expansion topping tails, and the bigger ones are certainly much more powerful. What else is moving here? Qs, inside bar, no big deal. Russell, inside bar, no big deal. Dow here, inside bar. Well, kind of took it out a little bit. It's right at this topping tail bar. So there's plenty of overhead resistance here. And, how everyone looks at the coming news as to deal with that on their own, just some economic news. And I'm just going to take a peek here again. What news is today? Give me a second. There's some auctions today. Consumer inflation expectations at 11 o'clock. I guess expectations aren't what's coming tomorrow, and that's the actual core inflation rate. How much expectations will come into play, I don't know. But the core inflation rate is going to be reported tomorrow, and that could have a significant effect on movement. And that comes at 8:30, where the inflation rate, core inflation rate month over month, inflation rate year over year, month over month, and the CPI tomorrow at 8:30. So 8:30 tomorrow is going to be some jiggles. And I'm marking internals. Kind of neutralish here, kind of worked off a little bit with that sideways price action yesterday. No big information there to make use of, but You can see the Dow's up against all of these pivots up here, lots of resistance. So, it's kind of jiggling its way up there right now toward this highs up there. Resistance isn't very far away. For the most part, last week was a week of catch-up trades. And Dan's chart of the week, right, that was timely because it was all about catch-up trades. What moved last week? Beaten down health stocks, retailers, just anything that was beaten up. Tech didn't do much of anything, and money went into what has been pounded down there. Yeah. You don't know. So that's the M contract, I believe, Alex. Alex in the room was telling people that the contract. I just use the continuous here for our discussion, so I don't have to change it, but you would put M23. There was some news on silver. I don't know, forget what it was that moved it up a little bit last week, but the dollar didn't move, so gold didn't move. Oil, we saw some money come into oil stocks last week, so they played some catch up, but they're really not that desirable. And we see oil is falling here this morning. I don't know if there's any news there. Bitcoin had a little more corruption going on. Amazing, isn't it amazing? The one guy gets arrested, and another guy pretty much doing the same thing. It reversed up, and now it's coming back down to the lows, but so far it's holding this minor support. Transports, money went into some transports, some catch-up trades going on there. And there's resistance over here. So, these weeks tend to be pivotal weeks. The Fed on top of triple witching, the end of a quarter, rebalancing. So get ready. Maybe you might need a seatbelt 1 or 2 days during the week. We'll see how things shape up here. But you're aware of the potential for some wild price action as news starts to come out. So, all the best today and this week. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. I have a huge watch list. And once again, even though I may not want to trade the broader markets, we're finding individual patterns that look fantastic. I got a couple of alarms going off here pre-market. Schwab, and this is a big potential launching pad. It needs an impetus, but we're in it. Not doing anything. We've been playing this catch-up trades, as Greg talked about them. Had a really good week because of it. We were very active. A lot of continuation patterns from these bottoming patterns, and here's one of them. It's a bottoming pattern, started with a 180 reversal, closing breakout. It's a 1, 2, 3, and now my up alarm went off. Morgan, a little bit similar. Weaker though. We're still in BAC, and it looks great. Another bottoming pattern. Small little buy setup, little cup and handle. Gapping up a little bit, looks great. We're just in management mode. All right, let's see what I got in this big watch list. I just saw this thing popping. Little penny stock. You could watch it if you like that stuff. It could set up. ANET, as this was pulling back, we were waiting for the turn. We're just wait. And then it happened on Thursday. Out of nowhere, you got a potent 180 reversal. And so that's on my watch list. It's bullish weekly, monthly. This would be a nice put spread if there's any juice down here. EQH, another bottoming pattern going sideways at resistance. I got an alarm 2665. Par, another bottoming pattern, took off 1, 2, 3, 4. Void. I got an alarm at 2405. Schillis. This would be what we'd call a red bar ignored breakout. I have an alarm up here 2470, but I'm actually going to delete it. There's better. X, another bottoming pattern, steel, made a new low, closing breakout, pullback. We just got to wait and see where it wants to reverse. I got an alarm there, 2260. Avco gapping up, very bullish consolidation after this monster run. So see how there's no support to the left, and it's creating it over time. So that's very bullish. I'm nothing to do with it now. I think JP Morgan gives CCL an upgrade now. Look at that. Now it's I don't know where whoever that was. I would ask them why didn't you give the upgrade down here at this buy setup? That's where you should have been in this thing. So that's probably a short-term top. But you know, airlines and cruise ships have been playing catch up. This could be a long-term bottom. CCL. Look at NCLH. Also, RCL is the leader though. That one's already ripped. Wow, it's a Climo now. And that's gapping up a couple bucks. Now that one we should keep on our list for a 30-minute low. A bear call credit spread. Oracle, there was some, are these the ones taking over CRM? I forget. The VRM, whatever. They're in the news. I think they got regulatory approval. It's gapping up, but it also has earnings after the bell. AMD is bullish, gapping up, but no pattern now. I was watching MU also. We were saying it's just in the area. It's weaker, of course, but it's in the area where it should turn right there. And we got two bottoming tails. Index is buying a company. So that, wow, that is one of the gap down. Wow. Wow. I didn't notice it was that big. I'll put that on the bottom right. It's getting whacked. Yeah, oil's down. I think Saudis. Yeah, there was news with Saudi. I don't know what it is, but there's a number of oil stocks that still look great. Look at like NOV. This is greater than 100% retracement, going sideways. Now it's, I'm sure the whole sector is gapping down here today, which is fine as long as it doesn't retrace too much. And then if it's able to take out Friday's high, then that's a beautiful bottoming pattern. Weekly, I got a 1, 2, 3. Look at Lulu here. I missed this over the weekend, but this is a put spread candidate. It was we actually sold puts on this into earnings, I remember. We sold like the 285 puts, I remember. So had a void, and the stock tells us where it wants to turn. So that looks nice. BAC we talked about. Charlie India. Why am I looking at you? I don't know. CVS, another one of these bottoming patterns in the healthcare sector. SWK. Look at the monthly and weekly. So Alex and Sam, I added this to my core list. Now, it could have been a head and shoulders on the weekly. But now it looks like it's a bottoming pattern with a failed head and shoulders. It's still not ready. The monthly here, has to take out that last month's high. But with this bullish move like this, that's going on my watch list. Well, I said it's potential one. I said it was setting up as a head and shoulders, but it never triggered. See, it never broke the neckline. So it never triggered. But we still, when we look at patterns like this that look like a head and shoulders, and then they give us bullish price action and don't break down, then that's a bullish sign. And then look at the other time frames, go through factory work and so forth. But as I was saying, daily, weekly, monthly, as long as this doesn't go too deep, much deeper into Wednesday's range, if it just bobbles around here for a couple more days, then I like it a lot. Schwab, we said, all right, so EOG is a put spread idea over these highs. And now I actually like the gap down in the sector because then it's not going to trigger. DVN, same. That's a put spread over the high of last week's high. CME, that's kind of a pseudo 1, 2, 3, greater than 100%. Buy setup. Let's see what that does in the first 30 minutes. Banking here is big trading range. Goldman, JP Morgan, we talked about those. KMB is a potential double bottom. It's going side to so, I like on the retest of a W to have a more confident turn. And I'm not confident of this turn yet. So I got an alarm. But what would make it better is a bottoming tail or gap reversal. But it's a watch. On THS, this got favorable article in Barron's. That's why I'm looking at this. Not a textbook W, but a bullish retest after a climb up. And then you got a buy setup on the weekly. So that would have been a great pattern on Wednesday and Thursday to get into. This had some mention in Barron's, obviously a SPAC, and this is just the total footprint of a SPAC. It goes sideways at $10 and then shakes around. Nike, well, we're done this Wednesday, MT Live. We're going to be talking about climbos and retests. So I'll be talking about patterns like this. Now, it was a climo and then a bullish gap. But now it's a coin toss. I have no idea what this is going to do. But I have an alarm at 107.50. Boeing, beautiful breakout, daily, weekly, monthly. So I have in both letters. We're going to try to sell puts on that on a pullback. Fiber still is a dead animal. Daily.
Hey, it's not affecting it, Dan. Sorry for interrupting, but I saw some news over the weekend where they got problems with planes again.
Well, the fact that it's opening flat's good then.
I know. I'm just mentioning it because I saw it.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we need to do another MT Live on trading news. Because something that doesn't act bearish on bearish news is bullish. LKQ. Greg, I forgot to put this. I forgot to put this in as a sell setup. This is the one you recommended, right? Was it short? Let me put it in a window and watch it. Coin, a Climo, I'm sorry, Florida, a Climo. If it can take out Friday's high, then I think it's good to go as a Climo for a 1 to 3 day bounce. Oh, sorry, YouTubers. Coin gapping down. Yeah, it was a sell setup. Will 5190 area hold? It's right. Look at my 15-minute chart. It's right there at this at Thursday's pre-market low. Will it hold? I have no idea, but I'm going to assume not because of the sell setup. C's when I was looking at the leisure stocks. So this broke out, pulled back on support, converging MAs. I got an alarm on that. UPS is a 1, 2, 3, 4, looks great. Google's a bear 1, 2, 3, 4. So that looks good. D-Dog, nasty reversal. We have this as a call spread candidate. GoDaddy. If it would go sideways a couple more bars, then it would be a head and shoulder. But nevertheless, we got an upside shakeout and bearish consolidation. So let me set an alarm 7180 on that. Pins, breakout failure, but you got a sell setup on the weekly topping tail. So keep that on the short list. Same with Snap. Same with OLED, kind of a head and shoulder, left shoulder, head, right, lower right shoulder. That would be a no-brainer call spread. But I think it was too juicy. Here's a bear, 1, 2, 3, 4. Set an alarm at 5:32. Abbott, potential double bottom with a, well, no, it's not a new low. Yeah, just potential double bottom is all. Let's see. All right, alarms CL. There's a double bottom CL now. So let's watch 5-minute high on CL. And ADP, I posted put spread, so that's good to go if you get filled. I posted it earlier. Post it again here. The 212-207. Oh, nice job. Heck yeah, I'd be selling too. All right, AD.